Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're back doing another Swiss Magic Origins draft. First time we've opened Exquisite Firecraft. Definitely feels like a card worth taking. 3 mana, 4 damage. Any target. I like it. There's also a Ravaging Blaze in here though. Well, that's just going to have to be okay. I still think... Well, is Exquisite... That's actually it's an interesting question. 3 mana for 4 damage is probably better than, like, having to have 8 mana to deal, like, 6 damage to something and the player. It's not worth anything, is it? It's worth about a ticket and a half. I think Ravaging Blaze is, I mean, obviously it's potentially better, since you can deal damage to the creature and the player. But this just, like, straight up 3 mana, 4 damage. I think I'll take it. I mean... It's worth a ticket and a half. I haven't played with it yet. Haven't played against it yet either, oddly enough. Maybe I have and I just can't remember. Okay. Follow-up pick. I think probably just slam an Undercity Troll, which is just, I think, the strongest card remaining here. This card is pretty strong. Basically the green Topin Freeblade. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, foil Vryn Wingmare is cool, I guess. And a couple other reasonable cards, but I think Undercity Troll feels correct. Next card. Well, we've got a Reeve Soul. We have a Rocks Mauler. We have Scab Goliath. Red cards aren't terribly exciting. I mean, I can take Rocks Mauler. I think Reeve Soul's probably just better. Reeve Soul's pretty good. Third pick doesn't necessarily mean black's open, but otherwise, I mean, I do love Scab Goliath. I think probably just take the Reeve Soul, take the removal. Yeah, we're going to go Reeve Soul there. Okay. I'm a huge Elvish Visionary fan. No good red cards again. Sylvan Messenger and Zyndakar's Royal are pretty take it or leave it. Sphinx's Tutelage is cool. I don't know if I want to build a mill deck. I don't know how much faith I have in it. I love Elvish Visionary, though. I'm pretty happy taking it here, even though it's early. I think the card's perfectly awesome. All right. Interesting. Yeah, there's some pretty solid picks in here, actually. Citadel, Castellan, Knightly Valor, Fetid Imp in black, Titanic Growth in green. I mean, I think Castellan is the best, but white is tough to barge into. It's a pretty cut-off color most of the time. Green-white, we have some chance of getting into, but like I said, white is just very popular color. I'm kind of okay taking Fetid Imp here. 5th pick, it's not the worst, and it's slightly more exciting than Titanic Growth, but I mean, I could try and barge into white. I think Fetid Imp's actually good, though. Slightly less exciting pack here, but kind of for everybody. Couple actual decent red cards. No good real green or black picks. Rabid Bloodsucker's playable, but never exciting. It's probably more playable than Zyndakar's Royal is in this deck, which seems like we could be slightly more beatdownish. It's good if you're playing beatdown. Not so good if you're not playing beatdown. Not so good on the draw. Unfortunately, there's just some not so good aspects of Bloodsucker, but I still think I'll take it. Okay. It's a late enough Weight of the Underworld where I feel good about it. It's a removal spell. There's Evolving Wilds too. Nothing else terribly exciting, so I'll take the removal. So 2 pretty good green cards. Oh, I guess we can pick up an Undead Servant here. Why not? Made that plan work once before. Oh yeah, thanks for the feedback on Undead Servant Husk. I didn't even think about the as soon as it enters, sack it and get the zombie to pump your Nantuko Husk right away. I mean, you lose with the first Undead Servant, you lose a power. You get that temporary boost on your Husk, but the second one you get 2 zombies, which is pretty good. Plus you put creatures in your graveyard for random, I don't know, Shadows of the Past or something like that. Feels like black was potentially the right direction, although Undead Servant goes late. I mean, no one really cares about this card. We can take Vastwood Gorger here. Everything else, yeah, seems pretty unexciting. We'll take the Gorger. Gorger's not terribly exciting, but it's a reasonable finisher. I don't mind our base so far. It seems like Exquisite Firecraft is not going to happen, but that's not really that big of a deal. Tabled Shambling Ghoul. That's an awesome sign. It's just a good card. All right. So black was a good choice, as it turns out. Tabled Shambling Ghoul, I would say, is definitely a sign of that. Green, I'm still on the fence about, but, I mean, I have the Undercity Troll. It's about it. Could take a Prickle Boar here. Would I rather play an Exquisite Firecraft and a Prickle Boar or Visionary Troll and a Gorger? To be honest, I think I'd rather play the green, only because one burn spell and a Prickle Boar is not all that exciting, and our 2-drops are actually good. I guess I'll take a second Gorger. Don't love it. All right, I mean, we tabled red cards, but the problem is they're not terribly powerful, nor is Thornbow Archer. All right, I'll take the Act of Treason in case the Steel and Sack deck's open. I could leap out. That's a pretty late Amprint Tactician. I'm still going to take black. Yeah, Dark Dabbling, sure. We're getting, like, last pick black cards. That's a good sign. All right, so I could force my way into a black-red Steel and Sack deck, which doesn't seem totally unreasonable. And then what? First pick. There's just no green card I care about first picking here. Could just take the Lightning Javelin then. I mean, to make Steel and Sack work, we do have the Act of Treason, but we're going to need like Fiery Conclusions, Nantuko Husks. Skyraker Giant's pretty reasonable. I think I'd rather have the Burn spell. There's a couple good black cards, but I think we could table one of them. So I might just want the Lightning Javelin. It's not a very exciting first pick, but Skyraker Giant's not terribly exciting either. Four drops are easy to get, and if I'm going to have a 4-drop, I'd rather have one that burns something, I think. So I think we first pick Lightning Javelin, hope to table Ghoul or Shaman. I love Towergeist, but I think we take Assassin here, actually. It's good to have at least one of. Nothing else really exciting. Dwynen's Elite. Here's our Shadows of the Past. Leaf Gilder in green. If I take Shadows of the Past, how good is it in red, black? It's not insane with a Steel and Sack deck, only because you end up stealing cards and sacking them. They go to your opponent's graveyard. They don't go to your graveyard. Could take Subterranean Scout. What is that good with, though? Nothing really. It's a Goblin Piker. We could use some more early game, I guess. How good is Shadows of the Past in this deck? We have a fair amount of creatures already. And we have a Return Centaur. And we have Undead Servant that kind of play into... There's a little bit of overlap there. I don't know how much I like Shadows of the Past in, like, this deck, though. Currently. Leaf Gilder's pretty good if I want to stick it out with green, but I'm okay taking a Scout, I think. I think Shadows of the Past is reasonable too, but I kind of like the idea of Scout if I end up with like a Husk too or something. Here's our Husk, Despoiler, and I got to take the Cruel Revival, mostly because we already have zombies, but hoping to table Husk or Despoiler. But I think we kind of want the Cruel Revival since it's like actual removal. I'm going to pull the trigger on red-black, I think. Or try to. Alright, Fetid Imp number 2 seems good. Just a nice card in general. Good 2-drop. So, problem is, we're not playing a beatdown black-red yet. I mean, we potentially can, but we're going to have to really focus fire on some of those picks. Return Centaur also has synergy with Undead Servant. And like I said, it has synergy with Shadows of the Past. But, ooh, Hellhound is pretty much right up this deck's alley since we're looking for some Steel and Sack stuff. Another Shadows of the Past. Still taking Blazing Hellhound. So we already have Active Treason. We don't have to go hog wild on Active Treasons. I tried that, and it didn't work so well before. Blazing Hellhound is just a good card, though. I think I'd likely not... pretty much don't want to play Return Centaur. I do think the black-red deck is a very good place for Undead Servant, because you have the sack outlets like Husk and Blazing Hellhound anyway. So that kind of makes sense. I still think we're competing with red, I think. But we did see some... the late red we saw, I guess, wasn't terribly exciting. But it was like Active Treason and Volcanic Rambler. I still think it's okay if we focus on black. Little red sub-theme. I'm not the biggest Goblin Glory Chaser fan. I think it's actually a fine card, but I think Enthralling Victor is a little more up our alley because it steals things. So we have Blazing Hellhound. Hopefully end up getting a Husk either on the wheel or in pack 3. And then we have another sack outlet or a Fiery Conclusion. But I think Victor is actually the correct pick here. I think Chaser's fine. My problem with it is it's not so good any turn other than 1. It's good if you have a Subterranean Scout, I admit. I still think I'd rather have a Victor. Victor's been good for me. All right, Undead Servant number 2 seems legit. Getting a lot of 4-drops, I admit, but I'm willing to cut Way to the Underworld if I have to. Ooh, did table the Shambling Ghoul, which is a good sign. We also tabled Deadbridge Shaman. I think I'd rather have the Ghoul. Ghoul has been good for me. Plus, it's a Cruel Revival target, so I like it more. Pricklebore seems just fine. Shadows of the Past tables, we'll take it. At this point, I think we could possibly make it work. Night Snare, sure. Sideboard plan. Well, if anything's going right for this deck, it's that we're in black, and black is clearly open, so that's a good sign. I think the only thing this deck really needs, we did not table the Nantuko Husk, so we'd like another sack outlet at least, like a Fiery Conclusion. It's not going to make or break the deck. We really only have an Active Treason or an Enthralling Victor, so we only have 2 ways to steal creatures currently. So it's not, like I said, it's not going to like, yeah, I don't think we play 2 though. It's not going to like make or break the deck. We're looking okay. We have a Reeve Soul, we have a Cruel Revival, we have a Weight, Lightning Javelin, Exquisite Firecraft, so we have some decent removal. Creatures could be better. Jeez. Tragic Arrogance, you say. Sentinel, the Eternal Watch, too? Holy jeez. I don't have a means to splash, unfortunately. I feel like I already have a lot of 4-drops, but I don't have a lot of past 4-drops, so I think that's still okay. I think we hope to table Shambling Ghoul again. I take a second Lightning Javelin, probably just straight up upgrade Way to the Underworld. Not terribly exciting, but I'm not going to jump into white at this point, so a hate pick does not seem correct. I do have at least an out for Sentinel Eternal Watch, Active Treason Sack Outlet, or Cruel Revival. And Javelin can hit face, like I said, so alright, we'll take it. Okay, take Victor number 2 for more theft, although we need the sack outlet. I could take the Goblin Glory Chaser now. It's fine. Like I said, I don't really like it outside of turn 1, and I'm probably not going to play the Undead Servants if I only have 2. So I'd rather have an Enthralling Victor, really hope to pick up another sack outlet. Alright, well, we did get another Undead Servant, which is more exciting than a Fire Fiend Elemental. Alright. Curve's a bit clunky, but we have plenty of 2-drops. I think we can wheel some. Triple Undead Servant would be better if we had more sack outlets, I guess. So, Fiery Conclusion and Tuco Husk. I guess I'd settle for another Blazing Hellhound, but we are 4-drop heavy at the moment. But we're close to a deck already, too, so we've got that going for us. Alright, Reeve Soul seems like a nice pickup. Buys us some time. Kills things. All the Shambling Ghouls? I'm okay with that. 2 mana, 2/3s are good. Fleshbag seems perfect. Alright. Fleshbag's like exactly what this deck needs. Although, am I going to get to 7 mana? Probably not. Am I going to get to 6 mana? A little more realistically. But we'll take the Marauder anyway. It seems like the correct pick. It's also something I can bring back with Cruel Revival. Fleshbag Marauder for days. There's another Reef Soul, too. I kind of like the Marauders more since we have all of these sack outlets. Fleshbag Marauder also works better with Shadows of the Past. That is not to be overlooked. And it works well with Undead Servants. Yeah, I think that we take the Marauder over the Reeve Soul. Ghoul or Fetid Imp. So I could have Quad Ghoul. It's not bad. Or Trip Imp. It's also not bad. I almost would prefer the Ghoul. Is that wrong? Because I honestly don't know. I think Bloodsucker can probably get the boot. Having all these 4-drops, it's this is interesting. Do I want to? Maybe I want 3 Imp, 3 Ghoul. I honestly don't know. They're both good. I think I'm gonna go 3rd Imp here. It's kind of a removal spell. I don't know how beat down we are. We could have had 5 Shambling Ghouls. I'll settle for 4. We still have to make cuts too. Okay, so main issues with this deck, we did not get, in my mind, we did not get enough sack outlets, but did get double Fleshbag and Hellhound, so we have some. Guess we'll hate the Priest. Actually, I'm going to take Foil Land because I don't care about any of those cards. Mighty Leap can be pretty annoying. We're not going to play Rambler. Touch of Moonglove seems like a sketchy card. Guess Tactics has beaten me before. Heavy Infantry, sure. Dark Dabbling, sure. Alright. So our deck's interesting. We got like all of the 2-drops, and even though we're 4-drop heavy, our high end is essentially non-existent. It's just a bunch of 4-drops. We have a pretty good amount of removal. Double Reeve Soul, triple Fetid Imp, Exquisite Firecraft, double Fleshbag, double Lightning Javelin. We only ended up with 3 Undead Servants, but I think we're going to try and make them work. So we got to make 3 cuts. Almost tempted to just cut Prickle Boar. How much do I like double Enthralling Victor? It's going to be pretty hard. I'm going to be hard-pressed to make Steel plus Sack work in this deck. So I can cut back on the Enthralling Victors, probably. I mean, there's some matches where it's just terribly unexciting anyway. And I guess I'd rather go on the Undead Servant plan with 3. Although, like I said, it's not terribly exciting. But quad Shambling Ghoul with Cruel Revival is pretty nice, actually. And I still think I'm pretty happy about having triple Fetid Imp. They can really hold down the fort well. They really feed your Shadows of the Past well. So I don't think I'm going to do Return Centaur, even though it does feed the Undead Servant and Shadows of the Past plan. I think at this point making cuts I'll be fine. I probably can just cut 2 Enthralling Victors. Oh yeah, and I have double Fleshbag to bring back with Cruel Revival. Basically, Cruel Revival feels like it should have a target almost every time. 4 Shambling Ghoul, double Fleshbag, triple Undead Servant. Like if I already have 3 Undead Servants, even 2, bring back 1 and play it, I get extra value. It's pretty good. We make 1 more cut here. Subterranean Scout actually is pretty unexciting. I might just want the Prickle. Like, this is basically a Goblin Piker in this deck. Just not very exciting. Makes a Shambling Ghoul unblockable. I probably can cut Scout and be just fine. So, this deck looks okay. Black-red value. We've got burn spells. We've got steal effect. We have all the sack out. Well, not all the sack outlets. 3 sack outlets, 1 active treason. Our curve actually looks good now. I kind of like Shadows of the Past of the deck now because it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility. With double Fleshbag just feeds into it so perfectly. Both players sack. You get to scry 1 twice. You put a creature in your graveyard guaranteed. And Fleshbag, dually works well with active treason. I like it. It's a cool looking deck, actually. Our hard removal is not the greatest, but triple Fetid Imp holds back fatties fairly well. I think this deck is actually legitimately decent. And we even managed to go so much black, but no double black. So we actually can do close to an even split. Again, probably 9-8. We want to hit that double red for Exquisite. And like I said, we only need one black to cast our black spells. So this deck seems good to me. This deck actually seems pretty good to me. I could do 10-7, but not having double red for Firecraft is how much of a concern? I guess it's not like a... Maybe I do 10-7. I kind of need double black, I guess, for Fetid Imp. All right. I don't want to get too red heavy. I guess we'll do 10-7. I think that's actually completely reasonable. All right, yeah, I don't know how great this deck is, but our curve looks nice, and we've got a game plan, so we're going to play it like this. We'll see you round 1.